Good morning. If you live in Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, or anywhere across the Great Lakes corridor, I need you to stop right now. Put the phone down, pull over if you're driving, and watch every single second of this video. Because what just happened across the upper Midwest is one of the most significant flood emergencies this country has seen in years. And the national news has been so locked onto tornado outbreaks and severe weather across the plains that this story got buried. But I have been watching this. I have been tracking this since the first rain gauge started climbing. And what I'm about to show you is not speculation. Every number I'm giving you comes directly from official state emergency declarations, National Weather Service flood warnings, and on-the-ground damage reports. This is not a slow news day grab. This is a genuine, documented, multi-state flood emergency, and the people who need this information the most have no idea how serious it got. Let me show you exactly what happened. It started with rain. Just rain. April 13th, a powerful storm system moved into Wisconsin. Strong winds, heavy rainfall, tornadoes touching down across multiple counties. That same system began hammering Michigan almost simultaneously. And at the same time the rain was falling, something else was happening. Something that turned a bad situation into a catastrophic one. Weeks of accumulated winter snowpack across Michigan's lower peninsula began melting. Fast. Too fast. The rivers had nowhere to put it. The soil was already soaked. The lakes were already high. And then the rain just kept coming. By April 14th, Michigan governor had seen enough. She activated the State Emergency Operations Center statewide at noon. Not for a county, not for a region. For the entire state of Michigan. That same evening, the entire state of Michigan was placed under a flood watch. Every single county. The whole state. Read that again. The entire state of Michigan under a flood watch in a single evening. That is not a routine weather event. That is a governor looking at her state and saying, we are in crisis. Then on April 15th, Wisconsin Governor Evers declared a state of emergency. 2 governors, 2 states. Both pulling the emergency lever within 24 hours of each other. The World Health Organization's Pan American Health Office flagged it by April 17th as one of the most significant recent hydrological crises in the entire Great Lakes region. The entire Great Lakes region. That is the largest freshwater system on the planet. And right now, it is in crisis. Now let me walk you through the numbers because this is where the story gets serious. In Michigan alone, 33 northern counties in the lower peninsula flooded in the first 4 days. 33 counties. By April 18th, the state emergency declaration had been expanded 3 separate times, 3 expansions in 8 days. The final count reached more than 37 counties under official emergency declaration. The list includes Grand Traverse, Alpena, Cheboygan, Charlevoix, Emmett, Manistee, Saginaw, Wexford, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Eaton, Jackson, and the cities of Ann Arbor and Kalamazoo. When a governor has to expand a disaster declaration 3 times, that tells you the crisis is not shrinking. It is growing. But here is the part of this story that should have been national breaking news. The Cheboygan Dam. The Cheboygan Lock and Dam Complex in northern Michigan became the focal point of an infrastructure crisis that had emergency managers holding their breath for days. Water behind that dam rose 6 inches in a single day. 6 inches in one day, despite crews working in shifts around the clock. Emergency workers brought in cranes to physically pull the gates out of the dam structure. They added industrial pumps to redirect water. They transported industrial wire from Illinois, not from Michigan, from Illinois, to try to restart the dam's hydroelectric power plant. Why did that turbine matter so much? Because getting it back online would increase water flow through the dam by 30%. Without it, water was rising and had nowhere to go. But here is what makes the Cheboygan Dam situation more than just a flooding story. The U.S. Energy and Petroleum Terminal sits directly downstream of the Alverno Dam in Cheboygan County. A dam failure was not just a flood threat. It was a potential energy infrastructure catastrophe. Governor had to sign a separate executive order declaring an energy emergency to stabilize fuel for the region. A flood that almost became an energy crisis. That is what was sitting on the edge of happening in northern Michigan. And the Cheboygan Dam was not the only structure under pressure. The Bellaire Dam upstream saw water levels rise 6 inches overnight. Water was sitting just 18 inches from the top of that dam. 18 inches. Workers sandbagged the berm. Officials warned nearby residents to prepare to evacuate. In Montmorency County, the emergency management director said something that sums up the entire situation. She said, "Everybody is impacting everybody at this point, because water does not care about county lines. What overflows upstream flows straight into the next county, and the next, and the next." That cascade effect is exactly what turned a regional flooding event into a statewide emergency. Bridges are gone. The Beitner Road bridge south of Traverse City collapsed overnight from floodwaters. A retaining wall failed in downtown Traverse City. Multiple roads were washed out across a corridor stretching from Grand Traverse County on Lake Michigan all the way to Presque Isle County on Lake Huron. The Cheboygan County Sheriff's Office issued a direct public warning. They told residents that even after visible floodwaters recede, the ground beneath roadways may have been structurally compromised. The road might look fine. The road might not be fine. And one resident in Indian River described navigating his flooded neighborhood by kayak. His hot tub had floated away. That is not dramatic language for a YouTube video. That is a real person describing what his neighborhood looks like right now. Now let's cross into Wisconsin, because this story does not stop at the state line. April 13th and 14th, the same storm system hammered eastern Wisconsin. And on April 14th, Wisconsin's State Emergency Operations Center was elevated to Level 2. The National Weather Service in Green Bay issued something you do not see very often, a flash flood warning for imminent failure of the Big Falls Dam on the Little Wolf River. Imminent failure. That means it is happening now. If you are downstream, move to higher ground immediately. That warning was real. That warning was active. And it was happening in Wisconsin at the same time Michigan was fighting to keep the Cheboygan Dam from overtopping. Two states. Two simultaneous dam crises. Simultaneously. In Waupaca County alone, the evacuation numbers are staggering. 1,800 people were ordered to evacuate from Waupaca, Fremont, and New London. A separate order went out for 1,000 people in Cheboygan. Nearly 3,000 people told to leave their homes in a single county on a single afternoon. The Wolf River swallowed downtown New London. The New London police chief went on record and told residents, "Avoid downtown entirely." Schools across multiple districts canceled classes. And the Wisconsin River at Portage peaked at 20.47 feet on April 16th. The all-time record for that gauge is 20.66 feet. It came within 2 inches of setting a historic flood record, 2 inches away from rewriting the record books. Emergency crews sandbagged a 2-mile stretch of Interstate 39 at the Highway 33 exit, a major interstate, sandbagged, to hold back floodwater. The Wisconsin National Guard's Urban Search and Rescue Team was activated. That team made contact with 164 individuals who were trapped in flooded areas. 164 people. 6 blocked routes were identified. People who could not get out on their own. People who needed the National Guard to reach them. By the time Wisconsin's State Emergency Operations Center issued its 6th official update on April 23rd, they had received 51 separate resource requests from counties across the state. 51 requests. That is 51 communities raising their hands saying we need more than we have. And here is what I want you to understand about both of these emergencies. Convoy of Hope, which has been on the ground in both Michigan and Wisconsin since this began, described what happened as historic flooding for both states. Not significant. Not major. Historic. Thousands of Michigan families displaced from their homes. Thousands more trapped inside homes waiting for water levels to drop. Some still waiting. Because as of yesterday, April 28th, the American Red Cross announced it is still actively conducting recovery operations in Michigan. This is not over. The Wisconsin State Emergency Operations Center is still at Level 2, still active, still coordinating. Now here is the part of this story that I think deserves the most attention going forward. Because the flooding itself will eventually recede. The water always recedes, but what it leaves behind is what nobody is talking about. Well, contamination. Columbia County, Wisconsin, has already announced it is offering free well water testing to residents affected by the flooding. Because floodwater carries bacteria, chemicals, sewage, agricultural runoff, and industrial pollutants. And when it seeps into private wells, you cannot see it. You cannot smell it. But you will get sick. If you have a private well anywhere in the affected counties in Michigan or Wisconsin, do not assume your water is safe. Get it tested. This is one of the most underreported health consequences of major flooding events. And right now, people in these communities are drinking from wells that may have been compromised 2 weeks ago. Mold is the second hidden threat. Homes that absorbed floodwater are now in a race against time. The longer moisture stays trapped inside walls, under flooring, inside insulation, the more dangerous the mold growth becomes. And mold does not show up on the first day. It shows up weeks later when the walls start to discolor, when the air starts to smell wrong, when people start having respiratory symptoms they cannot explain. If your home took on water, even a small amount, the cleanup timeline is measured in months, not days. The third hidden threat is road infrastructure. Michigan's state environmental agency is now pushing for dam safety legislation directly because of what happened in April 2026. Because this event exposed something that has been sitting under the surface for years. Aging dams, aging culverts, roads built over drainage systems that were designed for a different era of rainfall. The Cheboygan Dam situation was a warning, and Michigan lawmakers are now being told directly that if they do not act on dam safety legislation, the next flood event may not end the same way, the next dam may not hold. Now I want to speak to everyone watching this who is currently in recovery mode. Whether you are in Traverse City, Cheboygan, New London, Portage, Cheboygan, or any of the 37-plus counties under emergency declaration, here is what you need to do right now. First, document everything before you touch anything. Take photos and video of every piece of damage, every room, every wall, every piece of property. Date and timestamp every image. Create a written inventory of damaged items. Do it before cleanup begins. Because your insurance claim and potentially your federal assistance application depends on documentation. And without it, you are relying on your memory of what the inside of a flooded home looked like. Second, contact your insurance provider immediately, not next week. Today. Flood damage is typically not covered under standard homeowners insurance. The vast majority of homeowners in flood-affected areas do not have separate flood insurance policies. That means FEMA individual assistance is going to be the primary recovery resource for a lot of people. The FEMA helpline number is 1-800-621-3362. Write it down. If you are in one of Michigan's officially declared disaster counties, you may be eligible for FEMA grants for temporary housing and home repairs. You may qualify for SBA low-interest disaster loans for uninsured property losses. These resources exist. They are available right now, but you have to apply. They do not come to you. Third, if you are back in your home or preparing to return, do not enter a structure that has standing water inside until the utilities have been safely shut off. Electrical systems and floodwater are a deadly combination. People die in the aftermath of floods not from the water itself, but from electrical hazards they walked into when re-entering their homes. Have your utilities checked by a professional before you go back inside. Fourth, watch for scammers. Disaster zones attract fraud the way they attract news cameras. After every major flood declaration, scam contractors appear offering fast cleanup at inflated prices. Fake charity collectors show up asking for cash donations. Imposters pose as FEMA representatives asking for personal information. FEMA will never call you and ask for your bank account number. If someone shows up unsolicited and asks for upfront payment, walk away. Report it. Fifth, and I am saying this specifically to people with family members in the affected areas. Call them today. Not when you have time. Today. People in the middle of a disaster recovery are overwhelmed. They are managing too much information simultaneously. They are missing resources that are available to them. A 5-minute phone call from someone outside the crisis who can help them think clearly is worth more than most people realize. Be that call. Now let me put the full picture on the screen because I think most people watching national news right now have no idea how significant this event actually was. Michigan. More than 37 counties under official state emergency declaration. The entire state placed under a flood watch in a single evening. A major dam in Cheboygan County that came within inches of overtopping with a petroleum terminal directly downstream. A separate energy emergency declared by the governor. Bridges washed out. Roads destroyed. Thousands of families displaced. Still in recovery. Wisconsin. Governor declared state of emergency activated April 15th. The Wisconsin River at Portage cresting within 2 inches of the all-time record. Interstate 39 sandbagged to protect it from floodwater. A National Guard swift water rescue team deployed to reach trapped residents. An imminent dam failure warning issued for the Big Falls Dam on the Little Wolf River. 51 resource requests from counties asking for state assistance. Still at Level 2 emergency operations. And behind all of this, Hawaii County declared a local state of emergency on April 8th after back-to-back Kona low-weather systems saturated the island and began producing dangerous flash flooding and landslides. 3 states, 3 separate emergency declarations, all inside the same April 2026 window. This is not the kind of April the Great Lakes region was supposed to have, and the people living through it deserved better national coverage than they got. They deserved to have this information assembled, explained, and delivered to them clearly and completely. That is what this channel does. Share this video right now with anyone you know in Michigan, Wisconsin, or anywhere across the Great Lakes. There are people in these communities who still do not have the full picture. There are families still in recovery who do not know what resources are available to them. You are the bridge between this information and them. Share it. I will be right here tracking every update, every new system in the forecast, and every development in this recovery. Stay engaged, stay prepared, and stay safe out there.